What's up, Plebheads? I'm Neo, and I'm joined here tonight by superstar patron and fellow subscriber,
Dr. Flame.
Hey, Dr. Flame, great to have you here for the No BS review for Metro Exodus. Now, this is a game that I think you and I initially had very similar viewpoints on.
I was very excited, yes.
Give me your thoughts. First of all, give me your thoughts going into Metro Exodus, and then give me your thoughts after you stopped playing.
So, coming up to the release of the game, I was extremely excited. It looked crazy and nuts, and it was, nuclear winter, Russia. What can't you love? But then the release actually came. I played it. Yes, I was sitting at the edge of my seat because I was horrified of that intro. But then when I got into the combat, my controls started getting really clunky, and I was like, well, feels like the exact reason I tried playing the Metro Redux series. I know it's their remakes, but they still felt like they're really aged games. They felt old. They weren't very smooth. And I just didn't really enjoy it. Just felt more of the same.
Okay. So give me your, tell me what your thoughts were then. You finished like an hour and a half of gameplay or whatever, however long you played. Did you return the game? Did you just stop playing it? Are you going back to it at some point? What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah. Fastest Steam refund I've ever received in my life. Unfortunately. I might come back to it one day down the road once it, has some life and it's on sale. But I just didn't enjoy it enough to keep playing it right now.
Fair enough. So I bought the game on PS4. I actually pre-ordered it back on Amazon when they were still doing their 20% off new games. So I ended up scoring it for like $47.99, which was really nice.
Steal.
It was really nice. My first 2-hour live stream, if you go back and watch it, I'm very back and forth with how I feel about this game. It was a very love-hate relationship. And the combat felt very clunky. The exploration was fantastic, just like you said. Very creepy intro. Love that with the mutants, the Watchers or whatever they're called, down in the tunnels. It was really, really top tier stuff. Really enjoyed it. And then you get on the train. You have the train chase. You got to break out of the train yard. That was cool too. But I'm still finding myself struggling with these goddamn aim controls. And you could say whatever you want. PC Master Race, that's why I don't play shooters on console, you fucking console peasant. All the shit everybody always says. That's fine. But there isn't a good translation from mouse and keyboard controls. The directness, the accuracy of a mouse for aiming does not translate well to the joystick. I know it's supposed to imitate it. I know it's supposed to be a smooth transition. It is not. The Metro games have always felt clunky with their aiming and combat, and it's something that they have not bred out of their gameplay over the past 3 games. Now, that being said, my first 2 hours live stream, that was my biggest criticism. It was a real downer for me, and I'm sitting there with Jdog after the first live stream, and I said, that was fucking god-awful. And I said, Dr. Flame refunded the game. And no shit, wow. And we're sitting there and we're talking about it, and I'm like, I'm really disappointed, Jdog. It's not a smooth aiming experience. It's very poor. So, okay. I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to jump back in, and I'm going to try exploring more. I'm going to try collecting more resources. I'm going to try taking my time more, and maybe avoiding combat a little bit more. And I wanted to give it a chance, because I didn't want to walk away from this saying, Metro Exodus sucks, do not buy, fucking garbage, overrated trash. I didn't want to walk into it, but that would have been the title of the video, honestly. I didn't want to walk into it thinking that. So I went and I just played for an hour and a half or 2 hours off stream, and I explored. And that aiming was still clunky. The combat was still clunky as hell. But the actual exploration was really good. And the collecting of crafting materials, the finding different notes, finding different areas throughout the map to rest at, to craft items at, to just kind of take a moment to take it all in. That was a really cool part of the game and something that I really, really enjoyed. But that clunkiness was still there. So after my first 2-hour live stream, I was almost certain that I was going to give this game a 6 out of 10. In fact, if you had asked me 2 hours initial impressions, I would have said 6 out of 10. I'm not impressed. I have people coming on my stream saying it was a perfect game, saying it was the best Metro game they've ever played, saying it's one of the best shooters they've ever played, and it's phenomenal. It's what they've been waiting for. And I was just like, how the fuck can you say this is a perfect game? It is so far from it, it's not even funny. So that was my initial impressions for Metro Exodus. Flame, we always talk about the no BS reviews, right? Sometimes there's things you don't want to hear or you don't want to talk about, because right away, oh, he's a hater. Oh, he hates this game. I think for somebody that's never played a Metro game before, if this is your first Metro experience, some of those elements could really turn you off very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Now that being said, let's talk about my experience over the next 18 hours. Can we do that? Is that fair? I mean, initial impressions, bad. 6 out of 10, not impressed. I expected better.
Yeah, I think 18 hours is plenty to be able to do it. It's about as long as the story is, I bet.
Well, here's the thing.
Figured.
Here's the thing. I have a full playthrough, and I got the good ending, so I think I'm educated enough to give it a review here.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about it first off. We're going to go top to bottom, just like we always do in these no BS reviews. Flame, let's talk about the audio.
The audio, the worlds. I was walking in the Metro at the start of the game, and I was walking in a train car, and I heard 2 sets of footsteps. One was above me, and I was crapping myself. I loved that. It was beautiful. But then I heard someone talk, and I was like, this can't be the same game. Not at all. It's impossible for it to be the same game. The voice acting is horrid.
I'm gonna.
Granted, it's a Russian game.
Well, either way, you're not totally wrong there. I don't think you're totally off bar there. The audio in this game at times is downright creepy. Agree or disagree?
Absolutely.
But I have to say the voice acting in some of the situations could have been better. I like Miller. I like Anna. I like my team. It's the same. It's what I expected, right?
Right.
But I don't know. Some of the inner world dialogue and voice acting is just kind of like, okay, come on, guys, do better. It's a $60, AAA game. Let's get it together. Seriously. But for me, the audio, the world audio, the atmospheric audio was amazing. Creepy and very engrossing. Had me pulled in. I was doing a live stream last night, and actually, at the time we're recording this, Jdog is out of town. But I was home all alone in my basement doing my recording with my, just kind of playing. And I'm like, damn, where did I go for the last 3 hours? You know what I mean? And I didn't even have this headset on. It was good. It was very good. But again, the voice acting could probably use a little bit of work. So I will echo you on that, Flame, and I will agree with you on that. Do I think it's the worst voice acting I've ever seen in a game? No. Do I think it needs to be better in the future? Yes, I do.
With the voice acting, all I gotta say is if you played the last 2 Assassin's Creed games, they go from the top of being great, the worst voice acting ever.
In Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But another note on the audio, though, the guns and the fire, it didn't feel very oomph. It didn't have a lot of oomph behind it.
No, wait, hold on. You're talking about
For me, it didn't.
You're talking about the gun sounds?
Yeah, it wasn't very notable to me at all.
Well, I liked the bang behind the shotgun, not the silenced shotgun either. The actual like unsilenced shotgun, the normal shotgun. I liked the crack
Oh yeah.
you got. I liked the boom. I liked that. It was like a kind of like a thud. And when you unloaded with the assault rifle, again, no silencers, no suppressors, you got a pretty good crack to it. I like that. I'm kind of sick in games of getting kind of sick of hearing like these little pops. You know what I mean? Like you go listen to the USP 45 in Modern Warfare, you'll know what I mean. It's kind of drab and lame.
Yeah, I agree with the shotgun and assault rifle. Just unloading with it, those do sound great, but not all the weapons are treated equally to me. Some of them just sound like they're the silenced ones. I know they're not supposed to sound great; they're supposed to be silent, but it wasn't notable for me. I hate to have to say it.
No, it's fine. You do not have to. You don't have to kiss ass in this video. This is a no BS review, not a games journalist hand holding. Tell you what you want to hear. So, audio. I'm not going to say incredible. I'm going to say overall the audio was good. That's including some mediocre weapon sounds, but for me they were mostly good. It's including some of the maybe poor or voice acting, but then the awesome atmosphere, the great sounds, binaural audio, things like that. So I think the audio, I think a fair rating is good. If that's, and you can let me know. You let me know your thoughts.
I 100% agree with you there.
Good. Let's move on. Let's talk about graphics in this game. I have a very positive point I want to make, and I have a very negative point that I want to make. But I'm going to let you give your thoughts on graphics first.
So graphics, I enjoy the art style. The art style is really nice. It really gets the feel of the world they created. But then in the intro that you were playing on stream, for example, when you have that horde of mutants run past you, at that point the graphics didn't seem as, dark and dingy as you were walking through the metro and a mutant was up biting your arm up in your face. That was beautiful.
Yes.
I loved that. It looked fantastic. But when there's a bunch of them walking, you're like, there's a bunch of big rats.
Basically.
They're not scary when they're walking past you. They're scary when they're up close and personal.
Yeah, when they're in
So
your
I feel
face.
like, now I never saw the thing like the bear or anything, so I don't know how terrifying that is at a distance, but I know for a fact that I'd be crapping myself in my seat if it got up close to me.
Well, there's a sequence where you're actually caught in a trapper's net, and the bear actually climbs down from the mountain and walks right by you silently and looks you right in the face, and then climbs down and eats the guys. Like it was terrifying, but it was so cool because I was defenseless. I couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Graphics. First of all, I put this on par with Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah, the weather systems are drop-dead gorgeous as well.
They're awesome. This game looks great. The metro interiors are fantastic. The enemy designs I thought were really cool.
They are.
I'm not gonna complain about the redesign of Watchers or Nosalvices or whatever, or the demons. I'm not gonna complain about redesigns. I'm not gonna complain about this or that because I don't care. I don't care about that stuff. I'm not. That doesn't ruin my day. What would ruin my day is if every time I turned around or looked at something else, the screen was tearing or things were blurring or this or that was happening. I liked what I was seeing. There was one sequence in the game that really got me down. Was when we were all on the train and we were having like a meeting in the center of the train. I actually remember discussing this with Handyman during live stream. And it was so many characters, so many lines of dialogue, so many lines of scripts running at once. The game just could not keep up. And now remember, this was on PS4 Pro. And I found myself thinking to myself, God, I kind of wish I had gotten this on PC, which I would have had no problem, getting it. But I wish I had gotten this on PC because XYZ, I wouldn't have had these things happening, and it was kind of like a little bit of a slowdown. The screen was tearing at the top of the screen. It was very noticeable, and it wasn't just because I had two monitors running. It was happening on my 4K behind my main screen as well. It was happening. It was like the PS4 couldn't keep up with it. You know what I mean? But that was I would say really one of the only scenes in the game where that happened, and I'm willing to look past that. But it was a thing. It did happen. I did notice it.
I was playing on PC, running it with a 1080 Ti, and I didn't have any issues with the graphical things. So it's definitely
I was going to say, how could you?
console issue.
Yeah.
How could I, right?
Yeah. Your PC is a tank. I mean, you would have no excuse. And
it's absurd.
Even I'm running here with the 1070 Ti, I would have expected this to run it flawlessly.
Yeah, it runs, and it's gorgeous at 4K, and it's so smooth.
Yep.
I love.
Yeah, and I gotta feel you on that. I gotta give you the, I gotta echo you on that and say, I mean, the game just looks great. I mean, I'm playing at 1080p on the monitor in front of me, 4K and behind here, and I have to say, I mean, it looks excellent. There is some graphical fidelity issues during a few select scenes of the game, like I was mentioning the train car and maybe one or two other scenes, but it was not a reoccurring constant problem. It was kind of like it happened, okay, now the game is fine. Because as soon as I left that room in the train car, it stopped.
Yeah. And then you have your spider webs burning.
Oh, that's so cool.
It looked really cool up close and personal.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk
or
about...
when you're burning the spider webs and a spider crawls up your arm. Ooh,
it's creepy.
Give me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, it's damn creepy. Sometimes I wish I could play this game in the complete dark, but then my green screen would show up. So.
Yeah.
But I do have to say the graphics are fantastic. Let's move on. Let's talk about just kind of some of the in-game systems and some of the gameplay. I like the moral system in this game. I feel like it's a little bit simpler than in past Metro games. You weren't really quite sure what you'd get good moral for, what you'd lose moral for, or what was a good decision, what was a bad decision. In this game, they basically tell you, don't kill the pirates if you can help it. Just stay out of sight. And it's like, oh, so basically you're telling me if I want the character that's helping me right now to survive this part of the game, I can't kill these guys. So the game is a little bit more direct in that regards. It's not quite as hidden. We should do something about the slaves, Artyom. Free the slaves if you can, stuff like that. It's a good moral decision. If you do that, they're going to survive. Or you're going to get, as soon as you open that gate, you get the little screen flash, and you did a good thing. Don't kill the slaves during a firefight. They're innocent. They're just doing what they're told. Okay. Like if you follow those things, you'll get the good moral decisions. You'll get a good moral boost. But if you start killing slaves or you start killing these pirates or these whatever they're called in the summer biome, it can absolutely alter the course of your game. I noticed that.
Yeah, that's a big downside for people who like to go, it's a first-person shooter. They want to go in their guns blazing and murder everything. Some people like to do that.
If you want to play this game guns blazing, my recommendation is that you play it on easy. No, I'm being totally serious with you. Because you're probably not going to do that on normal or hard.
Yeah, with the 2 shotgun shells you find every hour.
On normal, I found myself having enough ammo when I started exploring, when I started scouring, etc. But, I had a chance to communicate with Brayden Koina, a fellow subscriber of ours from Australia, and he kind of was telling me, hey, I played this on easy, and I got, 3/4 of the way through the story in, 1 or 2 sittings. So it's like, maybe I wanted to play it a little bit more challenged, so I went with normal. And there is a significant step up from easy to normal, absolutely. And now I am playing on the highest difficulty, not hard, the highest difficulty. I think it's Spartan Ranger or Ranger Hardcore or whatever. And that is a significant challenge. But I'm having fun with it. It's not a challenge to the point to where you just want to fucking break your controller. It's a challenge to where you want to find new ways to complete certain things. And I'm liking that. I am liking that so far.
Makes you think of, should I really pull the trigger?
You're absolutely
right.
Should I
just stay in the darkness?
Here's the thing. Other than Metro, I've never played another game that makes me feel that way. Ever.
No, not even Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2, you just fucking shoot everything if you want. Who cares?
Yep.
Now, well, if you're playing it on hardcore, you don't. Well, then you don't. That's your choice.
Yeah.
But the gameplay, the actual moment-to-moment gameplay, collecting, exploring, finding huts to sleep and craft at the workbench, especially when you're low on supplies and you're out of ammo, is really important. Avoiding enemies, specifically mutants, watchers, the lobster things, the giant whale-looking thing. Doing so, like early on in the game, I just got here during my recent live stream. Early on in the game, you go to this kind of church. Spoiler alert! So if you don't want to hear that, just kind of skip forward a little bit. But you go to this church, and the goal is to rescue some civilians there, but not kill the cultists. The cultists aren't actually bad; they're just doing what they've been brainwashed to believe, and they tell you that straight up. Your crew tells you that, like, don't kill them if you can help it. I was killing them. So the one character that was helping me, I don't remember if it was Stepan or who it was, he ended up getting shot during the final shootout because of the bad moral decisions that I had made. So my actions, my decisions to kill those cultists had directly impacted the ending that I received and whether or not he would be there at the end of the game. Yeah. So that's what happened with that. But I like
pretty
that.
Cool.
I like that, and I like how there's different things depending on how you play certain parts. That is something in games that I had this experience with Kingdom Come Deliverance recently, when you do the first mission with Hans Capon, and he gets taken by the bandits, by the Cumans. If you go in there and kill the Cumans, you don't sneak away quietly together. He actually thanks you there, and you have like a conversation about it instead, and you never sneak away. So different things based on the different actions that you take in a game keep me invested in the game and make me want to try and do different parts in different ways, and I really like that.
Yeah, because you're building your own character, which
Absolutely.
is fantastic.
I'm telling my own story in the pre-created universe of the Metro Exodus game, and I really like that. My biggest negative for Metro Exodus is the clunky aiming controls on console. The only way to rectify that is to crank the sensitivity all the way up and turn auto aim all the way up. I don't like using auto aim. It disappoints me. Or aim assist, sorry. I don't like using that. It disappoints me. But in order for me to basically to get through it, I had to use it.
Yeah.
I really found myself struggling with that. Really found myself... I actually found myself at a couple points saying, God damn, I should have just bought this on PC. Aiming would be so... No, and I was playing Rainbow Six Siege the other day on PC, and like the aiming for first-person shooters is just so much better. It is.
Absolutely.
It is. I'm not, and I mean, I'm not trying to go PC master race on anybody. I'm not trying to degrade the consoles, because I have the consoles, I have the PC. I like the aiming with the mouse better. It feels more accurate.
Yeah, and I have to say even with mouse and keyboard, normally I can jump into a game and I'm perfectly comfortable with how they have it all set up and everything.
Yep.
But the very first 10 seconds of the game, after they give you the controls to you, I found myself in the setting menu turning up the sensitivity because the mouse movement was just so slow.
Damn.
It was horrid. And my mouse is already really high sensitivity anyway.
Yeah, mine too.
So I felt like I had to move my mouse from one side of my monitor to the other for me to do a whole 360.
Nice.
So 32 inches. I don't want to be moving my mouse that far.
No
I'm lazy.
shit.
That's why I'm on PC.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, Jesus. Oh, man. let's talk about, like, first of all, let's talk about the Aurora. I think the concept of this train to go from biome to biome to biome, from season to season to season, I think that's really cool. I like that they included that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's probably one of my
I love
favorite
the
parts of the
season.
game.
Yeah, more games need seasons. First the Forza Kart whatever game, and now this. They're introducing it very well into the world, I think.
Yeah, they did a really good job with it. I will say this: the summer biome is the best biome. It is so much fun. I played through that in one sitting, and I really enjoyed it. For me, the desert biome was kind of a fuck this shit. You know, like, I don't want to be here. There was some cool stuff to see and explore, but at the end of the day, I was just tired of it by the time I was done.
Yeah.
But the summer biome had my attention all the way.
That awkward moment where a game that has all 4 seasons, the summer is better than the summer in Fallout 76.
You just stop mentioning that game during our OBS reviews, please. I would appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, it's getting old.
Yeah. You get a vehicle like halfway through the game. The controls and the vehicle feels rickety, and I love it. It feels like a beat up, run down like desert van. It feels like that's how it would actually drive. And I love that they have a custom steering wheel. They have like a key that you turn it on with and that you open the door with. Like, it was very cool. Cool concept. Sticking with the kind of Metro theme. I liked all of that. Side quests are marked on your map with like a question mark. I thought that was cool. Places to go explore, get more items from, more intel from, more crafting parts from. And if you don't do them, probably going to be out of equipment very quickly.
Yeah. It aids you to explore the world too. It motivates you to go to more places, which is always fantastic.
Absolutely. I thought the guns themselves, the actual guns you find, you can break them down in the field, get crafting parts from them, etc., etc., get different weapon parts if it's one you don't have already. That was cool. There's some classic guns that return. There's some new styles that you can build and find in the game. The T-Har is actually pretty cool, and it's a nice backup weapon for when you're out of ammo for your main weapon. So I like that a lot. That was pretty darn cool. Like we said, I got a bunch of notes. I have a whole page of notes here. But we talked about the voice acting, how it was subpar. I mean, what the hell can you do, right? I mean, not everything's going to be perfect. Not everything's going to be spot on.
Yeah, especially with a game that's localized into English.
Absolutely.
Those are always tricky.
Yep. So, everything we've talked about, Flame, we discussed, side quests, they're important. They're not just something that you shouldn't just treat the side quests as well, you can do it if you want. Because if you don't do it, like I was saying earlier, you're probably going to end up out of ammunition. Probably going to end up out of supplies. And it kind of can reveal some things about different locations. And I really like that about this game. When they first said Metro Exodus is going to go, and I don't believe this is open world either. I don't think this is. I think each biome is very contained. And to my knowledge, you can't return to a previous biome.
Mm.
So when they say open world, that's a little bit misleading.
Yeah.
I don't know how they were attempting to package this, but I think it could have been sold in a different way. I think to say this is the open world Metro experience, they should have probably just sold it as being 4 different seasons. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or am I wrong on that? Give me your thoughts.
Oh no, I don't think you're wrong at all. I really wish that it would be possible. I'm not saying that it's not, to explore the whole world, not just bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
Because you do one main mission in a story, you don't realize that it's going to take you to that next section. Yeah. You're going to lose out on all those side quests, all those areas you didn't explore, all those collectibles and junk you didn't grab.
Yep.
This is unfortunate.
The game gives you the illusion of freedom, but it doesn't tell you do this, this, and this first, because once you do this, you're being moved to the next section of the game. I understand, like, I get it from, like, a construction point of view, from, like, a game building point of view. I understand why they did it that way. And I wonder, like, if you were to really have a fully open Metro experience like this, if it were to be totally open to where you could go from summer to fall, back to summer, back to spring, like, I wonder, how that would even work.
Yeah.
So I think that might be part of the reason that they did it this way. And I'm not saying that I mind it being done this way, but I would not describe Metro Exodus as a open world Metro game. I would not describe it that way.
Partially open world.
Yes, partially. You're right. You're right. Partially open world, mostly open exploration. I can get behind that. I can agree with that. I am. Yes. Let's see. I talked about the screen tearing during the train scene. I talked about the console controls being very poor for aiming and fast-paced firefights. How about this? Talk to me about your experience with your loading screens on PC, Flynn.
I can't imagine a whole lot's too different from the console, besides the graphics and the gameplay. The gameplay, to me, as you mentioned, yours was clunky. Mine was still about the same. It felt clunky and not very inviting at first. Kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2 was. It wasn't very inviting to you, control-wise, but I didn't get deep enough into it to see if I'd get used to it or not, and I don't think I would.
Red Dead Redemption 2, I was talking to Jdog about that. We were kind of comparing the two games here, and he said Deadeye made Red Dead Redemption 2 tolerable for him.
Yeah, since it is a shooter game on a console, so.
Yeah. Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on the load times.
On load times?
Yeah. Tell me
on PC?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't really notice them. Except like the initial startup of the game. I really didn't notice them at all. Because I make sure because they were quick, and there's some that were just, they're just there. They weren't too long at all for me on PC.
Well, that's great. PC Master Race.
Oh, yeah.
Because the load times on the PS4 Pro are fucking atrocious.
That is unfortunate.
The initial load-in time, and I understand, by the way, that they have to build the world, they have to load everything into the world. I get that. I'm not trashing that. But it is a very long load time. And I don't mean 30 seconds. I mean the initial load-in to the game is between 1.5 and 2.5 minutes, depending.
For console, that is.
Yes.
On the longer side, absolutely.
Yes. The on-death reloads about 15 to 20 seconds, which I don't mind that. But the 1.5 to 2.5 minute load-in times on initial load-in is a bit much. That was annoying. I'm just going to call that like I see it. That was annoying as hell.
Sounds like it. Yeah, the initial load time, it's a lot of flash screens for me on PC. But the moment the flash screens got up, boom, you were in the main menu. You could click go, and boom, you were in the game. It was only a few seconds for each. It was nice.
Nice. I was really funny because I was playing Monster Hunter World on PC, and I'm like, holy shit, these load times are non-existent. Like,
that is good.
Well, yeah, because like you grab a quest in PS4, it's 15 to 20 seconds before you hear the little jingle and you're able to load in. Mm-hmm. I mean, on PC, it's 3 to 5 seconds. Not even.
Wow.
Not even. I mean, it's insane. So, the load times, I would say on the PS4 Pro, on the console, for me, very, very disappointing. And another thing that kind of hurt this game at the end of the day. But, again, that didn't really hurt the actual gameplay too much. That was just annoying.
Yeah, and we're getting to that point in the console lifespan as well that we're probably going to see more of that in games.
Well, I think Metro Exodus really pushes the capability of the PS4 Pro or even of the Xbox One X. I think it really pushes the ability of the console in general. There were a couple times where and I've never heard this before, where my PS4 sounded like it was gonna fucking fly off the desk. It was humming so loud. I'm serious. I'm being totally serious with you. I've never heard that before. I've never heard it run so hard before, and it was only for a little while. But I'm just like, oh my god! Like I'm like, this thing is pushing my PS4 to the max.
Could have cracked an egg on it and cooked it.
Yeah, well, sometimes. Sometimes I think about trying that, and I'm just like, well, I'd probably just do that on my PC. But
there you go.
My PC never warms up anymore, unless you want to eat raw eggs. So before we bring this no BS review to a close here and give our final thoughts, Flame, is there anything else you'd like to say about Metro Exodus?
If I had more time in the game, probably I would have a lot more to say, but unfortunately wasn't patient enough or enjoying myself well enough. So
what made you initially step away? What made you initially say, you know what, I'm just not fucking grabbed by this. I'm done. I'm not doing this. I can wait for a $20 Steam sale. What made you say that? If I can ask that without trying to get into a big mess.
Yeah, no, you're good. Short and sweet. I was playing. I was enjoying. It was a new game. I was excited, and then it kind of tapered off, and I was like, well, I'm going to go do something else really quick, and then I'm going to come back to it. And then I never had the drive to come back to it. And then I was like, now that I've stepped away for a moment, I'm not in that hype train of like, ooh, it's a new game. Finally, this game's come out. I waited since June of last year, whatnot. I was like, it just felt, It didn't pull me back in, wanting to play more. So I was like, you know what? If I'm not getting this after 15 minutes of stepping away, then there's no way I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
All right. I just wanted to get your thoughts and see what you kind of pick your brain on that. For me, like I said, for me, my initial impressions were very poor. I'm playing on normal. Like, I'm not a terrible player. I'm not a terrible gamer. I'm not a fantastic gamer, but I'm not terrible by any means. And I'm like, why does this seem like I don't stand a fucking chance on normal? Like, I shouldn't have to play a game on easy. Like, what the hell? And I kind of tweaked my approach a little bit, explored a little bit more, collected a little bit more. And if you're willing to do that, I think you're going to enjoy this game a lot more. And that was where I really struggled at first. And of course, the clunky aiming combat really beat me up a lot. And it actually made me start playing stealthier so I could avoid aiming and shooting. As I got, 15 hours or so into the game, it was less for me. I didn't have as much problems with it. But the clunk is real. The initial clunk was very real, and I struggled with it a lot, to the point to where I almost stopped playing.
Yeah, it is very, very far too clunky.
I told Jdog, I said, if GameStop was offering $40 for this game, I would have taken it, traded it in, and come back and bought it on PC, and taken a $7 loss, $8 loss.
Yeah.
I would have. I absolutely would have, and I would have had no problem with it. I was very disappointed at first, but I'm glad I stuck with it, and I'm glad I actually got through the game, because the end of this game, there's okay, so hold on. Spoiler alert! If you're watching, don't watch anymore if you don't want to hear this. This is your chance. I'm starting in 3, 2, 1. So there's no final boss in this game.
Rip.
No, you know what I mean? Like how sometimes games like this have final bosses and it's like a big fucking shootout and it's really, really epic.
Yeah. Or even like a final boss encounter.
Yeah. Or something that chases you and it's like a really tough enemy to defeat, but you can do it, if you're really careful. There's no final boss in Metro Exodus at all. Can I talk to you about it? Is that okay? I don't want to like ruin it for you, but I feel like it's something we should discuss.
Yeah, it was giving me the vibe of the kind of game that at the very end you're going to encounter something crazy of why they didn't want to go to the surface.
No, there isn't. There's nothing like that. So obviously, one of the characters, I'm not going to say who, but one of the characters on the train gets very sick and is dying. And you need to find medicine for them at this old facility. So you're going through this facility, it's super irradiated, you're tripping balls, you're having, hallucinations. It's really cool how they did it. It actually kept me involved with it the entire time. And so you have to, you end up encountering these blind gorilla-like monsters, and they're gigantic. They're very big. They're like 8, 10, 12 feet tall. And you have to sneak by them or fight them. Of course, ammo is scarce. Supplies are very scarce. And it became more of a avoid them, get around them, get through, get to the next part, get to the thing, get the medicine case. And once you do that, you have to quick time event your way through not falling all the way off of the building, and the gorilla thing is chasing you and it falls and gets killed and you survive and you make your way back to the Aurora. But there was no final confrontation in this game other than a quick time event, so that was kind of a disappointment. Yeah, that's it. That's the end, and that was the end. There was nothing else after it. It was go back, drop off the medicine, see the final sequence of the game, and complete the game and get your ending sequence. It was either a good ending or a bad ending, and move on from there. It was kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
I don't mean to shit on the ending of the game, because I get like their actual ending sequence was very good, but as somebody who was playing through looking for a big final like hurrah, like that was a bit of a disappointment. Considering that you had big shootouts with the Baron, you had that big boss fight with the bear. Didn't really. It was just kind of like avoid the enemy and get the stuff and get the fuck out of there. So it's kind of like, whatever.
And it was very disappointing. Yeah.
I feel like the game should have ended at the summer biome, but that's okay. The actual game itself, upon completing it, I sat back and I was like, you know what? That was better than I thought it was going to be. My initial score for this game was a 6 out of 10, and I was very disappointed. My final score for this game, I would say, is about an 8.25, 8.5 out of 10, if that's fair.
Your no BS review. Your no BS score.
Yep. It is by no means a perfect game. It is by no means, 100% awesome, but it's also not terrible. It is not as bad as I first was feeling. It is not as, if I had to describe this game, I would say it's a disappointing masterpiece, if that's fair.
Yeah.
I do. And I do truly believe that. It's a disappointing masterpiece. There's enough things about this game that kind of were like, come on, really? But then there's also some things in this game I was like, holy shit, that was incredible, So if I have to label this game, it's a disappointing masterpiece, about an 8.5 out of 10. If you're a true, real hardcore Metro fan, I'd say you're not going to hurt yourself by buying this, but otherwise you might want to wait for like a $40 sale. The pause is to wait for you to give your thoughts.
I really don't have a whole lot more to add. I saw that it was going to be a great game. I knew that it has a ton of potential. It just didn't grab me well enough at the beginning.
That's fair enough. Absolutely. Flame, I want to thank you for joining me for the No BS review today. There's all kinds of different opinions on games, right? Like, everybody feels differently about a game. Like, look at you and I. Like, we both love Monster Hunter, right? Like,
absolutely.
That's not a question. We both adore Monster Hunter. But then, you look at a game like this, Metro Exodus. I played all the way through it. You returned it in under 2 hours. Like, I mean, so there's always differing opinions on these games, and I think they're all correct. It just kind of depends sometimes on what you're looking for. You know what I mean? I'm happy I saw this game through to the end, and I'm happy that I completed this game. And I think if I have to give one final thought on Metro Exodus, this needs to be the end of the Metro games. Because the ending is good enough that there should not be another game.
There's more in the book series, I'm pretty sure.
I have no idea. I can't comment on that because I don't know. But this should be the definitive end of the Metro games. It has a good end. It's like in Gears of War 3 when you kill the Queen, right? That should have been the end. That should have been the end of Gears of War. That it should have been the end. I don't give a shit. I don't care. That's my
Absolutely.
opinion. That should have been the final. That should have been the last Gears of War game they made. I don't care if they make another Metro game, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't try to. I just don't think it. I don't think there should be another Metro game. I think this should be the final game. This is like the full encompassing Metro experience. You get you get some gameplay in the Metros, which there is, and you get gameplay out of the Metros, and you're going for this final goal is to find this place to live out of the Metro and live out in the world safely, securely, and maybe you find that, maybe you don't. I don't want to spoil the ultimate ending for people, but the way this game ends, what I saw with the passing of the torch at the end of this game, this should be the end of the Metro series. They should not try to continue it. My opinion, my thoughts, you are more than welcome to disagree.
Absolutely.
And anybody watching is more than welcome to give their thoughts and give what they think. I want to thank, first of all, Flame, I want to thank you for joining me for the No BS review. I want to thank all of you guys for watching. Give us your thoughts on Metro Exodus down in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed this honest discussion and honest breakdown of Metro Exodus. And we'll see each and every one of you right here next time on the Balding Plebs for more content like this. Flame, why don't you take us home?
GG, you plebs.
It's still funny every time you do it.
Oh, that's great.